UFC Seattle was very, very entertaining and successful as well as far as bets. How you doing, ladies and gentlemen? How's your mama? How's your family? Today we're going to be recapping our bets and the full card and the fights of UFC Seattle. Feel free to look at those timestamps down below if you want to skip around. We're going to start off with the bets. What you're looking at right here is what we had pre-fight night. We had 5 total bets coming into this fight, to the fight night. 4.35 units wagered. 9.52 returned if everything goes right, and we know how that goes. If everything went right, we would have profited 5 units. Now, at the end of fight night, we placed bets live. We only placed one more bet tonight, and it was a Jean parlay. Jean-Yan parlay. Put the 2 Jeans in the same parlay. Just ran it. We were up money. Just ran it. And if you watch the fights, you know that one didn't hit. We had half a unit on that, and it was going to bring back nearly a unit. So this is what it adjusted our units and our profit to. Now, as far as our pride and joy, the casual parlay, I mean, we back on track, baby. We back on track, baby. Casual parlay won with flying colors, and I do mean flying colors. Ricky Simone, KO victory. Ruziboev, KO victory. We had Ricky Simone plus 3.5. Not even money line, plus 3.5. Because I knew he would win a round. Hometown cooking. Big pace, big pressure, big mediocres. And at the end of the day, Javid is skilled, is a good fighter, but overall, not dangerous. Not going to deter Ricky from going forward. And that's exactly what we knew. 1.6 units in to bring back 3.7 units, a profit of 2.1 units. Our pride and joy is back on track. And it feels good. And the should win parlay comes through as well. Anthony Hernandez. I did something tricky with Anthony Hernandez. I had a prop that I'll show you guys later. Anthony Hernandez on antibiotics. One of the worst weight cuts of his career. Still showed that he has the second best cardio in the UFC. And I say second best because ain't nobody topping Marab, right? Then you got Song Yadong. That fight was getting very, very tricky. We'll talk about it more when we break down the card. It was getting real, real tricky. Because I had Yadong winning the first 2 rounds, and the third round kind of gave it to Cejudo. And it was 29-28, 130-27 in there. That fight ended up having to go to the scorecards because of an eye poke Henry Cejudo couldn't see. But the reason it wasn't a no contest, and a no contest would have avoided this and changed our payout dramatically. And we probably wouldn't have profited that much. We still would have profited. Obviously, the bet would have won, but probably would have profited barely anything. And the reason it wasn't a no contest, Henry Cejudo, heart of a champion, fighting spirit, decided he still wanted to go out there. He wanted to fight it out. And you can't continue to fight after a foul and then call it a no contest because of said foul. So we went to the scorecards after 3 rounds. Song Yadong won that one convincingly as well. But it was getting interesting. Henry, Song Yadong was landing those low kicks. He took away Henry Cejudo's orthodox stance. And Henry already wasn't wrestling much. But he took away Henry Cejudo's orthodox stance, made him go southpaw. And when he switched southpaw, he started having more success. And they are going to have a rematch. So they say that's what they want. Henry Cejudo, knowing these things, and he was starting to build momentum, starting to land his left hand, starting to feel comfortable in the pocket, was able to take Song Yadong shots. Henry Cejudo in a rematch may be something that we have to entertain a little bit more seriously. Moving on, underdog and straight plays. We had Ricky Simone straight up. Put 0.4 of a unit on it to win 1.36 units, a profit of 0.96 units. And he was a big underdog, as you can see, plus 240. And I was really playing it by decision. Lucas called the KO. Shout out to the GOAT. But I was playing it for a decision, getting a decision, outpacing, outworking him. Because Javid lost his last fight by not doing enough. He just doesn't do enough. And he's not very dangerous. Ricky Simone went out there and put him out cold. Jorge Masvidal, Kamaru Usman 2-esque. Out cold. Landed an extra hammer fist. His eyes went from this to this. It was such a good KO. I posted a live clip to it. Live reaction to it. Now, Andre Fili, it's a 50-50 with this guy, It's a 50-50 with this guy. We didn't lose many bets. This was one that we lost. Shoot yourself, and you see Costa's digging for the guillotine. I mean, it wasn't he pulled it during the takedown. Costa had to work for that for like 10, 15 seconds. And he was constantly digging for it. And during the fight, I'm screaming, hey, watch that guillotine. It's your shoot the box we're talking about. Watch that guillotine. And he sinks the guillotine in. Melt Costa, cements him in the first round, I do believe. A lot of finishes on this card, but entertaining. Enough to where we saw some good performances and then a great finish. This is the tricky thing I said I was doing. Bruh. I saw Brendan Allen dropped. I wasn't even going to play this. This wasn't a play that I had in my head. I saw it dropped plus 3.5, which essentially means we need Brendan Allen to win a round, not get shut out on the scorecards. At plus money, and I'm like, I usually don't play for value, but I'm like, I could see Brendan Allen winning the first round, which is exactly what happened. He was almost going to lose that round. Reverse position, ended up on top, did more damage than Anthony Hernandez, and this is why he won the first round. And I'm like, bro, I could see him winning the first round and then not being able to keep up in 2 and 3, and that's exactly what happened. So we ended up winning a money line bet on Fluffy and a plus 3.5 bet on Brendan Allen. We were hot tonight. We were on fire. During the live event, we did the Gene parlay. Gene Matsumoto, he lost, and I'm not even upset that he lost. What a performance from the 25-year-old kid. 2 weeks notice, catch weight, no training camp, and he brought the fight to Rob Font. Shout out to Rob Font. He's still getting better at the age of 37 years old. His jiu-jitsu tonight, his scrambling skills, his knowing when to be patient and knowing when to take a risk, his ability to get up off of his back, greatly improved. Like, I still remember when Corey Sandhagen was laying in his guard with a torn tricep or bicep or whatever, and just for 5 rounds and just laying on him, a couple pitter patters here, and just keeping him on the ground. That was not the same Rob Font we saw today. Rob Font looks inspired, and Rob Font looked good. His boxing always on point. Nice, tight, walking his opponent down, looking to overwhelm the young man. And I'm not going to say he overwhelmed him, but he did outwork him. I think it came down to Gene not shooting enough takedowns. And in the second round, it was like, okay, you clearly have a wrestling advantage, a grappling advantage. Even though you can't hold him there, you're getting him there consistently. I think he was 6 for 7 by the end of the second round. And then the third round, he didn't shoot any, I don't think. It was a few clinching exchanges, but he didn't shoot any. And he just got outstruck. Gene Silva, I mean, we said it. I think he's going to be winning until he's not. And I mean, Melksik's going to be winning until he's not. And that's what happened. Melksik was up. It wasn't because he was just piecing John Silva. It's because John Silva's output is low. It's very low. He doesn't really do much. But when he does do something, it's devastating. Devastating KO. Gene Matsumoto, Rob Font. I'm not sure if it was announced officially, but that's definitely fight of the night, 100%. At the end of the day, we were up 2.15 units. We went 4-2 on bets. 7 units returned. A great night. Especially a highlight from last week where we were down 2 units. We made our 2 units back, right? So it was great. A great night for bets. And as I wrap this betting recap, this is just for entertainment. This is not intended to be taken as a recommendation to gamble or to tell me, even though I do this every week. I drop a betting video every week. It's to add content. For content and to add some hype to live streams, make it more interesting. That's all it is. Speaking of live streams, join me Saturdays, man. I'm live every Saturday. Join me. Casual parlay back on track. Should win. Parlay is 2-2. Be good. Let's get into this card. Starting with Cejudo and Yadong. Here he shot a couple takedowns. It says 3 here. Not all of them were fully committal. It looked like takedowns to really just get it on Song Yadong's mind that he would shoot. That, hey, I have wrestling in my back pocket. But by the end of the first round, Cejudo was severely compromised. I mean, the low kicks of Song Yadong absolutely took Cejudo's left leg away, took his orthodox stance away, and really took his wrestling away. And Song Yadong was also doing a great job of checking the kicks that Henry Cejudo was throwing at him. I saw a stat that said Henry Cejudo was 13 for 13 on leg kicks, and Song Yadong was 13 for 13 on leg kicks. That's bullshit. Song Yadong checked damn near half of the leg kicks. Song Yadong's checking was on point tonight. Now, what we saw from Song Yadong, there were times where he was just out of not respecting Henry Cejudo's power, which I don't really blame him because Henry Cejudo doesn't really have that swat in his hands. He was getting a little reckless, showing tendencies to brawl. And that's when he gave Henry Cejudo momentum in the fight, because Henry Cejudo overall really couldn't touch him much when Song was sticking the jab, being long, a left hook here, an uppercut here, a low kick here, a body kick here. It was just point. But whenever he decided to drop his hands a bit and let's just march forward, that's when Henry Cejudo was actually having his most success. Like I said, I gave Song 1 and 2. I gave Henry 3. 2 was close, and I think Henry was starting to build momentum into that fight. That eye poke was super, super nasty, so I don't think he quit. Especially since if he quit, he wouldn't have continued after the foul and took the no contest. instead of taking the actual loss on his record, which is actually ended up happening. So the whole narrative that he quit, he took the way out, I don't really think about that. Now, the rematch is interesting because Henry Cejudo was starting to build momentum in that fight. And Southpaw actually was working better than his orthodox stance, the stance that he's more comfortable in. And that's something that I think in a rematch could play a big factor. He was starting to land. I think he'll be able to switch it up on Song Yadong. He knows the less kicks coming, and he's probably going to initiate more grappling exchanges. So he saw that Song Yadong was real hittable, but he also saw that Song's not going to go anywhere. But he saw that Song Yadong is hittable. And that's very, very important for a guy like Henry Cejudo. So on a rematch, it's very, very interesting, and I may lean Henry Cejudo because it looked like that 5 rounds experience and that heart and that experience was starting to do its thing. This fight was crazy. A lot of grappling, but I enjoyed it. I don't know how you guys felt. I really, really enjoyed it. I think Brendan clearly looked better on the feet. Head kicks, low kicks. But at the end of the day, like we said, Brendan Allen would probably win the first round. Then after that, Anthony's going to set a pace in that first round where Brendan could probably come out on top, but after that, he just won't be able to keep up. And there was a lot of close calls, a lot of close darces, a lot of close rear naked chokes, a lot of close neck cranks on both men's side. And it almost felt like, how many times will there be a close call before there's actually a submission? And there was not a submission. Like I said in the betting review, if you skipped it, I bet Brendan Allen plus 3.5 to win 1 round and not get shut out or finish. And I bet Anthony Hernandez to win the fight straight up. And both bets hit. That was great. But Anthony Hernandez just outworked him. And Brendan Allen was kind of throwing his fist up out of frustration. And you were getting outworked. It wasn't like Mario Batista holding Jose Aldo against the fence. You were getting worked. He was working. He was kneeing you. He was actually searching for submissions. He was hunting. You just couldn't keep up. That's really what it was. Good win for Anthony Hernandez. Him versus Cerqueira in the nearest firefight. Him versus, I don't know who you give him. Him versus Kyle Borhalo would be freaking fireworks, but I don't want to see them fight. I want them to fight when it's closer towards title aspirations. But him versus anybody is really good fight because he gonna bring it. He's gonna bring it. Whatever it takes, he gonna bring it. So he's dope. Rob Font, Matsumoto, fight of the night by far. I mean, what a showcase out of the 25-year-old. 2 weeks, short notice, no training camp. Stay ready. Push the pace with Rob Font. When Rob Font really was trying to overwhelm him at the beginning of the first round and the beginning of the third round, trying to overwhelm him, the young man, the unexperienced man, even though he has 16 fights on his record, it's just different in the UFC. And Rob Font is probably the best opponent he's ever fought in his career. And Rob Font really, really wanted to take the fight to him. And Gene Matsumoto didn't go anywhere. And he actually was holding his own on the feet and getting the better of Rob Font at times. But his clear advantage was the wrestling and the grappling. Even though he could not keep Rob Font down. At the end of the second round, he was 6 for 7 on takedowns. He was slamming Rob Font. He was getting big moments, and he won that second round clearly. And then in the third round, he didn't shoot any. I think he went for one kind of high crotch takedown, but other than that, no. It was some grappling exchanges, but that third round was generically striking. Rob Font just outworked him. And then whenever there was in the clinch, Rob Font kept it striking in the clinch, and he just outworked him. 37-year-old Rob Font still getting better. His jiu-jitsu off of his back, his ability to scramble, his ability to get up, his ability to stay safe out of the way of submissions, it's improving. He looked inspired tonight. And Rob Font, it's a guy you got to take serious again. It's a guy you got to take serious again. But Gene Matsumoto will be something in this division. That guy was a monster. A little hittable. His head was on the center line a lot. The 1-1, the double jab, and the 2 behind it was landing flush every single time. And Gene Matsumoto didn't really adjust with it much. But his countering was on point. His kicks were on point. Gene Matsumoto is going to be something in this division. For sure. Gene Silva versus Baghdasaryan. We know what John Silva does. It's going to be low output until he lands the devastating punch. And he's probably going to be losing until he's not anymore. And that's exactly what happened. Nasty left hook with the right hand behind it. Sat Melsick down. Wanted to walk off. The ref's like, no. And John's like, okay, you wanted this. And brutally just elbows to the body. John Silva's such a weird character, bro, because he almost lures you into a sense of being safe. Because right before he KO'd Melsick, he's like, yeah, let's have fun. They would like take turns, slap each other. They would dap each other down, and then before you know it, he's all smiles. Left hook, 2 down the middle, drops you, and then he's smiling again. And the ref's like, "This fight's still going." He's like, "Oh." Then he gets up, he's crying, then he's serious, then he's crying, then he's serious, staring at Bruce Buffer in the eye like he's an interesting character. But featherweight is a fun division. And Gene Silva's good. It's going to be a walking highlight reel. And there's not going to be a single fight at featherweight where he does not have the chance to put his opponent's lights out. And the thing is, we know he could probably grapple as well, but we just haven't had the need to see it with the speed, the power, and the precision of Gene Silva, explosiveness, being able to mix up the strikes. This is a good opponent that he beat tonight. A guy that's never been KO'd in his professional career. KO'd him. His professional MMA career. Now, Alonzo Menifield, Julius Walker. This was sloppy as all hell, but it was fun. I don't think there were any robberies tonight. Let me put that out there. There was a lot of finishes, so it wasn't a lot of decisions. But I think every decision went the right way, and I think Alonzo Menifield won that fight. Bigger moments, and then Julius Walker's body language. Body language means a lot in fights, and when you're stumbling, it's just not a good look. When Alonzo's still tight, he's clearly gassed, he's still tight, he's still landing big meaty hooks while he's defending all of your takedowns. This was a fight where you almost knew there was going to be a finish. My homeboy had the fight to end by KO, and he goes to decision. Crazy work. Now, I told you guys, do not let this guy fool you. He has power, and that power can make up for a lot of holes. But do not let this guy fool you. Ion Cutelaba came out here and showed him that there's levels. And Ion Cutelaba had his chin on a silver platter, and Aslan easily could have landed a shot and put him out. Juan couldn't really land the big shot, though. And when he did, Juan Cutelaba stayed tight, recovered, good takedown entries. Beautiful takedown entries, deep takedown entries, fast takedown entries. And that's what you got to do. You know, I told you guys I wouldn't be surprised if he took him down, took the sail out of Ebo's win. Took the win out of Ebo's sails, built up some lactic acid, and really just showed him it was levels. And that's what he did. Didn't waste any time locking in submission, getting Ebo out of there. Good fight. And I really was not surprised. This is why I didn't have any action on it. Didn't play Ebo by KO. No action. Didn't play nothing on it. Because I knew this was a 50-50. I felt like this was a 50-50. Like a lot of people thought Andre Fili and Milk Costa was a 50-50. Speaking of them, Andre got outstruck. Didn't really throw any output. Andre was just eating kicks to the body, eating kicks to the legs, eating a couple jabs, eating a couple right hands. Finally says, okay, let me shoot a takedown. Gets it beautifully, but puts himself in danger. And Milk didn't get the guillotine off of the takedown and pull it. Milk had to dig for a while. And I'm screaming at the TV. I'm like, watch that guillotine. This is shoot the box we're talking about here. Watch the guillotine. And the guillotine gets locked in. And Andre Fili has to tap in front of his hometown. It's a classic story of Andre Fili, right? So, are you surprised? No. Mansoor Abdul-Malik, Nick Klein made it very, very interesting. But it ultimately gassed. I'm pretty sure he was on short notice. Pretty sure he didn't have a training camp. Made it very, very interesting, though, Nick Klein. Landing a spinning back. I don't think it was a back fist. I think it was like a back elbow. Rocked Mansoor pretty bad. Then ended up getting a takedown. Then ended up working him. Landing a significant strike. Still in the first round. But Mansoor, and I'm like, okay, we're going to see Mansoor in the second round. We're going to see. You know, he had some adversity in the first round. We're going to see. And Mansoor just showed, I'm still explosive. I'm still fast. And I still got power in my hands. And I'm still just going to impose my will. And Nick kind of crumbled under that pressure. TKO. Ricky Simon, Javid Basharat. Beautiful. I did not think it would be KO. I'm gonna be honest. I picked Ricky Simone. I thought it would be by a close decision because he just outworked him. He went in there and put his lights out. Beautiful one too. I mean, that whole first round, the right hand was there. It was money. Ricky just couldn't quite find it. Couldn't quite find it flush. But he set it up behind the one. Got Javid off balanced and really put his lights out. And that extra hammer fist was nasty. Nasty. In his backyard, I feel good for Ricky to be able to get back in the win column emphatically like that against a Javid Basharat, who is a good fighter, just not dangerous. Doesn't really impose his will that much. And that ultimately is what it came down to. Ricky Simone, great win. Another banger fight. I mean, we could tell we were in for a treat after this one for sure. Austin beat shit out of this dude. And this dude get up trying to fight and push like he mad. What you mad for? I just beat your ass, dog. Like, what are you mad for? And if you did want to fight again, is it because you feel, oh, we're back on the feet? Like, bro, I will take you down again and smash you again in a real fight. Like, you got beat horribly. He landed 102 strikes on you in 2 rounds. Grounded pounded you. Smashed your face. Nasty elbows. TKO'd you, bro. You got dominated in the worst way by a short notice guy. Like, dominated. Are you UFC caliber? I don't know. Because on the feet, you're supposed to be this monster, and I didn't see it. I did not see it. Dominated. This was domination of the night. Domination of the night. Ruziboev started off slow, started off pretty boring. I mean, I low-key lost interest in the fight after the first round. I'm like, okay, Nursing won, and if it continues like this, he's probably going to win because Khalil Roundtree at home, he doesn't fight like Khalil Roundtree, but he does like Khalil Roundtree. Eric wasn't doing it. He was playing extremely safe. Kind of scary, actually. Wasn't letting his hands go. Really reactive. I mean, the dude threw 16 strikes. Ruziboev lands, I want to say, a right hand, knocked his equilibrium off, and he really couldn't stand. He was like, not even hurt, just dizzy. And with 6'5", Ruziboev running you down while you're hurt, you're not going to make it out of there. TKO for Ruziboev. And then this one, I told you guys. People talking about the odds are too wide, Modestas can lose. This and that. I told you guys this guy is not UFC level. And I ain't gonna lie, his 1-2s did look good tonight at range against Modestas, but Modestas just got in his face and crumbled him. The Kentucky State Fair, 11 fights at the Kentucky State Fair with all KOs is not gonna prepare you for the UFC. And that's what we see. And this is a guy that could actually come back to UFC. I'm acting like he's cut. He probably will be. But he's not cut. But I'm saying, like, he's probably not going to have a really good UFC run here. And he's probably going to have to go to the regionals. But a good regional. Go to a good regional. Get some wins and actually work his way back. Because he has the attributes. Not the attributes. The physical traits. Physical attributes. To be a lightweight. He has power in the hands. He has length. He's in good shape. But, dude. Inside tight, he just doesn't look comfortable. Even on the regionals at the Kentucky State Fair, he's on the back foot, letting his opponent dictate the pace. So this one was written all over the raw. This one was clear as day, and I don't think the odds were too wide at all. That's been it for this breakdown. We'll be back next week. We'll be back with the same thing. Like, comment, subscribe, share this to somebody I know they enjoy it just like you did. You ain't got to go home, but you got to get up out of here, man. Yeet.